We're talking all about money today.
So, you want to start a homestead?
It's all about that money, money, money. Okay, so let's talk about creating a budget first. We're going to track all the expenses that are coming out of your homestead. And I'm talking every penny you're dropping, whether it's groceries, fuel, seeds, tools, even your electric and your water bill. This way, you'll get a lowdown on where all of your money's going, and then we can have an idea of what things we can cut. Separate your wants and needs into two different categories. Make sure you're focusing on the big stuff that keeps your homestead running smoothly. The things you just can't do without, like feed for you and your animals, water, medications, tools. Cut back on the non-essentials and make sure you're only trimming the things that you don't need to keep your homestead up and running. So now that we have your needs and wants into two different categories, we can start ditching some of those extras. So go through your want list and see what you can ditch. You know, maybe that coffee run every single day, every other day isn't really necessary. Maybe you don't need all those streaming accounts, whether you have Netflix and Hulu or Disney Plus or maybe, sports channels. Do you need all of them? Probably not. Let's pick and choose and see where we can try to save some money. Cutting back on some of these extras will give you some extra cash. It'll add up in the long run, helping you live more comfortably and giving you some breathing room for when you do need to spend that money or make bigger purchases. Speaking of bigger purchases, you want to set goals for those. So let's say that you have a greenhouse in your mindset for the future, or maybe you want to build a bigger chicken coop, and it's going to cost you a few $100s to buy those materials. Let's set a goal so you have an idea of how much you need, and then you can break that down into smaller, more bite-sized chunks. So let's say saving $100 a month for the next 6 months. It will definitely make it easier to keep track of your progress and saving money that way without feeling overwhelmed. And then that way, when it comes time to buy those bigger things, you're not putting yourself behind in other areas because you weren't thinking ahead of time and didn't have that money saved up. Got some good budgeting tips for gardening. Save your seeds. Definitely get them from your best crops. It's a game changer for both your garden and your wallet. Not only does it save you cash for next season, but you also get hand-picked seeds that are perfect for your climate and your growing style. It's like having your own little cheat code, and who doesn't want that? Buying in bulk is always a great option, especially if you have a big garden. A lot of suppliers will throw in discounts for bulk orders, so it's an easy way to save some cash while making the most of your gardening space. Bigger garden, smaller bill, win-win. Seasonal sales, they're always a gold mine for homestead supplies. If you time your purchases just right, you can buy things on clearances, big on tools, seeds, and equipment. It's a clever way to stretch your budget and get more bang for your buck. For instance, those raised beds that I made a few videos back on, I got those in December. And so those were definitely a clearance buy because they weren't in season. So I got them for a little bit cheaper than for, say, buying raised beds in March, April, May. They're probably going to be a lot more expensive versus during the off season. Nothing wrong with them sitting on my porch until the snow cleared and I had time to put them together, right? Right. You can always join seed swaps. That's also a great way to save some money. And get together with your gardening community, mix things up without spending a dime. Whether you're trading with folks locally, online, you'll get new varieties for your garden and expand your network. It's like a garden party, but with free seeds. We always want that. Who doesn't love free seeds? Okay, now let's talk livestock. I don't know about you, but livestock definitely is a pretty penny over here on my homestead. Vet bills can definitely hit hard. They're not always avoidable. It might be an option for you to start kind of an emergency fund for something like that. So if it ever does come up, you have some money set aside. But you want to make sure that you keep up on your preventative maintenance. I know some of these medications for like parasites and your routine vaccinations can add up, but trust me, it's definitely going to be smaller than a surprise vet bill would be. And we want to keep our animals happy and healthy anyway, so make sure you keep up on all that routine maintenance. If you've got the space, you can always grow your own feed. Things like corn, pumpkins, and other veggies can help offset some of your costs. Your animals will love the fresh treats, and so will your wallet. I don't have enough space on my homestead here to grow like enough hay or grass for my animals, so those are things that I do have to purchase. But I can grow, smaller things. I can grow corn and pumpkins and lettuce, and all my animals really love that. You can always utilize your kitchen scraps too. If you have birds, turkeys, guineas, chickens, ducks, they will always take your kitchen scraps, and pigs, of course, always will too. They will eat anything. Should you feed them everything? Probably not. When it comes to pumpkins, of course, all the animals love the pumpkins. My cows really love pumpkins. I can get a truckload of pumpkins at the end of the season for like $50. So depending on where you're at, if you live near or in an agricultural community, keep an eye out on those Facebook marketplaces, because that's where they'll be posting them. Usually like the end of November, after the season's pretty much done, there'll be you pick fields like, hey, you can pick these pumpkins, $50 a pickup load, and they last for quite a while. I mean, that's not something that will completely replace your feed for that time, but it's a nice treat and all the animals love it. And it's just like a little supplementation, so why not? Once again, buying in bulk, seasonal sales, it will always save you money as long as you got a dry and secure place to store it. You can also team up with other homesteaders, family, neighbors, and start a little feed co-op so everyone can benefit from bulk discounts. The more you buy, the bigger the savings. It's just how that works. All right, let's talk about DIY and repurposing. Make your own rainwater system. Solar panels is something I don't know how to make. You would have to purchase, and I know that is quite a pretty penny to purchase solar panels. That is on my to-do list in the next like 5 years or so. I'm going to save up for some solar panels. But that definitely would help cutting down on those utility bills. If you're in an area that gets a lot of rainfall, I would definitely suggest building a rainwater collection system, unless you're in Colorado, because Colorado is weird as fuck. And they don't allow you to collect rainwater. How is that illegal? But okay. You can always go completely off grid if you're feeling adventurous. That would definitely be a game changer to your wallet. Making your own tools can also be a money saver. It's a way to get exactly what you need. Like for instance, you can take a DIY drip irrigation system with PVC pipes. That'd be perfect for saving water. Or how about turning an old window into a greenhouse? If you don't have a greenhouse yet, you could definitely like make something work for your homestead. It still keeps your plants cozy, and you can probably grow in it all year round. You set, I've seen these before. You can set like hay bales up, whatever perimeter you want, right? And then you can put your plants inside the little perimeter that you made, and then you just set a window over it. And it's like a natural little greenhouse for them. That's a great idea. It'd be really cheap. It's not exactly pretty, but remember, we're going for purposeful, not pretty. It needs to be working for you and your homestead and your goals. Pretty comes last. All right, old furniture. So you can always give them new life. Converting an old cabinet into storage for tools or leftover wood into trellises. That'll help maintain organization while maximizing resources. Definitely show up to the yard sales. Just take so much money with you so you don't overdo it. You can snag essential supplies for a fraction of the price. Plus, it's kind of fun to go from place to place, finding little treasures for your homestead. Marketplaces, like online websites like Craigslist, Facebook, FreeCycle, those are excellent tools for secondhand homesteading materials and tools. A lot of community members will list things for pretty cheap or even free just to get rid of them, especially during spring cleaning. So make use of those platforms. Keep an eye out during springtime for adding to your homestead and staying in a budget. Bartering has been around forever, and it's still a great way to score supplies and services without spending cash. A lot of people will swap fresh produce for homemade goods. It's a win-win that builds community and helps keep your expenses low. Also something maybe to check out on Facebook, depending on your area. We have a Facebook group in my area that is just a bartering, like no cash sales. Like don't even try, getting $50 for this item. Like what can we trade instead? And those are really great to have around just because people aren't expecting green in their hand. They're expecting something in return. Like, hey, I will make you a loaf of sourdough bread in exchange for a dozen of your chicken eggs. It's a great idea. Just exchanging things, exchanging goods or even services. After going to your yard sales and checking out the marketplaces, if there's still things that you need that you couldn't find and you couldn't make and you end up having to purchase, make sure you're spending your money on the right things that you're going to be using frequently. You don't want to go all out for like a rototiller or a tractor that you're probably going to only use a few times a year. You could borrow from a neighbor, maybe rent it for a weekend, and that way you can still get the job done without spending big on equipment that you'll rarely use. Maybe you should invest in that metal rake instead that you'll use more frequently, or a good double-wheeled wheelbarrow. Okay. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? So we've got all of your expenses written down. You got them sorted out into your needs and wants, so then you can start crossing out some of those wants. That'll give you some extra cash, right? Got a bunch of tips to help save you money and keep that budget in check. And we've got a solid game plan to keep your homestead thriving without all the extra stress, right? Now, I also know a lot of people will be like, Becky, why aren't you talking about making money on your homestead that it can help offset the cost? Making your sourdough bread and selling it, or, selling chicken eggs or animals. Well, I didn't really talk about that in this video because I have a whole other video I plan on making about it. So just stay tuned because there's so much more to that. I wasn't going to add just a tiny little 2-minute clip into this video for it. We're just going to keep that one for a whole own video because there are a lot of options when it comes to making money on your homestead. There's no way that I was going to try to fit it into this one. Okay, we've got some solid budgeting tips to help you save money and build that thriving homestead. Now we're going to dive into the heart of it all, usually where everyone wants to start, gardening. It's where most of homesteading adventures begin, so let's start chatting seeds and growing your own food for your health and for your family, all while keeping your budget in check. Time to get your hands dirty without draining your wallet. Until next time.